So I figured I'd do a Facebook Live while my husband's taking a little shower. So yeah, this last couple days, my dog's been doing actually quite well. It is a daily thing to keep up on the naps, on the food intake, on the bathroom breaks, making room for potential mistakes, or even developing new habits, only because you have to have room for allowances until everything is the way it's supposed to be. So anyways, tumors are the body's indicator that there is new evolution that needs to be not only released but also assimilated too. And when you have cancer, it means that you now have to power feed yourself and you have to stop starving the baby cells. And so I'm looking at my dog's mass, and it's giving her strength and youth, but it is a gradual thing. She is maintaining her weight. She's not losing massive amounts of weight like she was back in November around Thanksgiving when everything really when everything was accelerated. She's walking around, just getting used to carrying something until it's ready to shed. And that's the thing about tumors, is they are like your womb. They are like an umbilical cord. They hold a lot of programming. Those are your stem cells. Those are what is giving you the next evolution. That is the next life, the next phase of your life, but in the same body. You know, sugar isn't disappeared. She's just now being recycled back over again. But again, she still has some of the memories of the old world, but she still has to develop new memories to the new world. And her body has to catch up with the brain. Okay, so she knows her name. She knows when to go to the bathroom. She knows even areas where not to go to the bathroom. She doesn't want to pee in her sleep, but when she was taken over by the babies, she couldn't help but do that. But now she takes herself off the bed and lets me know she has to use the restroom. And then I also developed a system that even in the bathroom, she sees me peeing in there, that she'll go on the rug. And so I bought another rug, another bathroom rug for myself and my husband. And then I have a rug for her that in case she has to use the restroom, she can pee on that rug and then I'll wash it. And so then when we're downstairs, and I know to take her out when she has to go to the door, until her body is strong enough and her back legs are strong enough to then get up the stairs. But she's maintaining her weight. It's just then the agility, it's the strength of managing all of that, plus then developing and going through the growing pains. Remember what growing pains were like back when you were a kid? They were painful. And that's like watching a pregnant dog walking around on stilted type of legs, a stilted gait, a stilted walk. It's stiff. And people think, oh, it's arthritis and they need to have chondroitin or some other types of shit that they give away in the medical holistic industry for animals that are dealing with arthritis or something. But no, it's the fact that she's carrying something. She's carrying new life, which is her. That's in a compact form. And then I'm seeing the new skin develop. That's what's so amazing about this, is seeing the new skin develop. You see the line of demarcation of the old world and the new world right on her little belly. And it's like, it's such an amazing thing. And let me tell you, if that thing was actually cancerous, she would not be alive. She would be so fucking skinny. She wouldn't be able to maintain her weight or her ability to remember to go to the restroom. She wouldn't be able to walk. Okay, but people who get to that point when the cancer is eating them up inside is because they're starving. And the nutritionists are starving people. Friends and family are starving the people who are dealing with cancer, because the person isn't reassured that if you just eat food and pull out the old programming, you will survive it. No, they're like, oh, well, maybe it's time to go now. Maybe it's time to go get more medicine, more oncology, more steroid shots, more surgery, less food, more medicine. And no wonder people are looking like they are the crypt keeper on their deathbed, because they're basically in starvation mode. And so then I figured out that, yeah, I'm feeding for two. When you think about it, my household, I'm feeding for three, because I'm feeding myself, my husband, and then my dog. But her stuff is getting in a blender. I'm not sure when she'll actually be able to eat adult food, because I want to make sure she has all the nutrients and that little mass, that her evolution gets fed extremely well. And even then, I wouldn't put her on, I wouldn't just feed her either people food appropriate for dogs or her dog food. I would still bottle feed her on some level, because I want to make sure she gets the maximum amount of nutrition. That's the only way you're going to survive this climate change, is that if you eat food and pull out the excessive programming. And so it's kind of weird seeing her carrying around that little mass, but that is the spirit animal. That is her next life. That is her. And so I would never, ever let any veterinarian, any surgeon touch my animal, ever, unless it's to get a vaccine. That's the only time an animal would actually get something, because of socialization purposes, because most places out there, when you board your dog so not board, like I would never board my dog overnight, or I would take my dog anywhere where I would go. But let's say I want to get her socialized with other animals, to get her different programming, to give her a personality. Well, I'd have to go get her a vaccine, whatever they are. And that's fine. She can handle the vaccines, because all it is just evolution. She's gone through countless and countless, seizures. She's gone through, shitting everywhere because of the frequency. She's gone through almost all of it, and she's fine. She's survived all of it. And so, getting a vaccine for her so she can socialize with other dogs at some point is fine for me. And then I will, keep feeding that evolution and pulling out the programming. As far as her pooping on her own, I'm gonna wait until that thing is to its normal size and it's her, and then I will see how that's gonna work out. But yeah, I have my hands in constant water, so like I have like dry skin on my knuckles. It's so crazy. But it now it's a new system that I'm implementing, which is basically a puppy schedule, because it starts from like 6 or 7 in the morning, and then it's like poop time in the morning, pee, and then feeding, and then walking around and just stretching the legs, and then pee again potentially after feeding, and the feedings are in rounds, and then she goes down for a nap, and it's the same thing over again. Feed her, poop her, whatever. Well, she's not to have to poop her, but it just depends. Maybe twice a day I'll poop her, and then she's ready for the next level, the next evolution. And so until she is mature enough, I've got to make sure that I'm helping her system develop its own system of survival. And it's a lot of work. So yeah, I could see why if people are aging and they're becoming even more infirm as they age out in the system, they can't have an animal that needs so much attention like this. Because I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. I can't see someone who is like 60 or 70, or who has fibromyalgia or MS or any kind of diagnosable condition, doing what I'm doing on a daily basis, nightly basis. I can't see them doing this. They would be so overwhelmed, they wouldn't know what to do with this type of situation. So I get it, and that's fine. That's why we have the internet, so we can see what other people are doing and see what it's going to take to actually survive. And that's also why they have diversity, because diversity means that even though you can't, you don't have the ability or the wherewithal or the strength to raise yourself and to raise an animal from being elderly, doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't do that. It doesn't mean the other person over there who's actually fucking doing it, doesn't mean that you condemn them to death because you couldn't do it. And that's essentially what our society is. If one person can't do it, then they say that nobody can do it. And that is now gone to the wayside. That's why we have diversity, because it means that over here, somebody's doing it, and just as you can't do it, they're fucking doing it. You can watch them and jeer or encourage them, and maybe, figure out if you have what it takes to raise yourself and to raise an animal and raise a child the proper way, or you just let things die off, like yourself, like your animal, like your children, like everyone around you. And that's fine, because we've been doing that for fucking years. But now that type of situation is accelerated in climate change. I already feel the heat today. It's gonna be like 60 degrees next week. From -30 1 week to a climate change of 60 degrees next week. Yeah. So you have to eat and pull out the old programming in climate change, and you have to deal with the pain if you want to survive climate change, because we're in climate change right now. And so I'm really thankful for these frequencies, because it is accelerating the intentions of me keeping my dog alive, keeping myself alive. And so sometimes we do need a little help from the government with energy, but you have to use energy wisely. You have to know how to use energy. No different than how you use money. If you're just spending money left and right on stupid shit, you're not taking care of yourself, taking care of your kids, taking care of your, your animals, and you're buying stuff that you can't fucking eat, then the government already knows who's going to live and who's going to die, because they know who's going to put more money in food and releasing their own programming, which is, I don't know, more water because you're taking more showers. Because now I'm establishing a precedent. My book, which I don't expect to get a lot of reviews on my book. The reason being is because, first of all, it's like kind of conspiracy, right? So we have the mainstreamers who are like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. So they have an issue with that. Then there is pulling out programming through your sphincter and understanding pulling out that shit and blowing your nose and understanding that. And who's going to really write a review about that? Oh, she's all about her rectum, except for people who already troll me anyways. But an actual serious person, when they're realizing there is credibility to this, for them to put a review down that the book was great, she makes a lot of sense, I don't expect that. I expect it from my supporters who already have put themselves out there. But those that are new in this, those that have just come upon my information, I don't expect you to support me on Amazon reviews. I don't. I just expect you just to read it and take what you want from it, and that's it. Okay? And so I understand that the world that I'm introducing is going to be difficult for those that want to embark upon it, but they're in a mainstream world that's all about the death culture. It's about destroying things that are going through an evolution because they can't handle the pain and the suffering that goes along with it. Even though it's survivable, people can't handle watching anything go through an evolution. They can't handle change. They can't handle diversity. They have such intolerance to everything that isn't, sanctioned by an authority figure in whatever industry that is all about the business, making money off your body parts and your pet's body parts. People don't make those connections, that the medical holistic system and the veterinary system is all about money. They're not benevolent. If they were benevolent, you wouldn't have the morgue. They'd tell you you'd only see them a few times and they wouldn't be selling you drugs. They would be selling you food, regular food, processed food, to fruits and vegetables, to all that, and say, hey, when you have beta cells, like B cell transitional baby cells, okay, that's what beta cells are, beta catenin, beta this, and they have people have beta blockers. They would be selling you baby food for the beta cells, but no, they're taking food away from you, not telling you to fucking feed your beta cells, and then they're taking food away from you, and then they're only giving you adult food or organic food. And say, oh yeah, here, buy all these supplements, buy all these tinctures, buy all these diet plans. So if the medical holistic system was so benevolent, they wouldn't be selling you all that bullshit. But they're not benevolent. But people don't know this. They don't know this. They don't know the difference between someone who's actually trying to keep them alive and someone who is actually making money on their way out the door, because they're so used to promoting death and destruction and diets and surgeries and causing trauma to themselves, their animals, their children, their friends, their family. And so when someone questions that, then they go and try to destroy that person, which is like, okay, yeah, they're consistent, but then that's why we have the law. You're not supposed to destroy someone who's actually trying to keep themselves alive. And so that's why we have the law. Because some people don't even know the difference between what is suffering from somebody else's hand and suffering to stay alive. And so then they want to go and destroy everything that is to them suffering. And that's where all the love people, all the animal lovers, all the children lovers, all the people they're all about love and empath and love producing and destruction. And so that's how I knew the empaths a long time ago. Now, I'm not saying all empaths think that way, but I think there should be a transition, in my opinion. There should be a transition from being empathic. Sorry about that pause. From being empathic, there should be a transition from being empathic to finally being pro-life and understanding there's a certain amount of suffering to stay alive. My internet's been going for a while, so I didn't go and redo it this morning. I should have done that, but that's no big deal. But that's all I'm going to say right now. So just understand that, yeah, if you want to live and survive in this society, you have to feed and pull out the programming, and you have to basically face the pain of your own predisposed issues. If you can't do that, I don't know what you're going to do. You'll just keep destroying yourself until there's nothing left. All right, bye.